Skyler Tanksley is a business owner and entrepreneur known in the greater Orange County and Los Angeles community for his vegan diners and restaurants. He is currently blending the world of cryptocurrency into his restaurants and will be offering food and drink products through a new cryptocurrency called LUV, L-U-V. This episode will give you a good baseline into how NFTs work and how these new cryptocurrencies have direct utilities in the real world. It's challenging to envision a future without the US dollar, but just like our grandparents found it hard to believe we'd all be swiping credit cards, the ball never stops rolling. I hope you enjoy.
Here, uniquely enough, in the world of crypto, everything is so anonymous.
So anonymous.
I'm literally talking, most people, and you're gonna, it's gonna be funny because this is gonna be called, usually it's Skyler, but for the majority of the people that will be watching this, they call me Meta, you know? So already, so that's why, like, even off in the start,
Really?
it's gonna be a very big trip for people to see the contrast because you are my good friend, but to thousands of people, I mean, hundreds of thousands of people right now, they know me as Meta because my whole focus, my ethos is I'm changing the meta of like the crypto world, the blockchain, being like super scummy and like basically, you know, hiding in the depths of the blockchain anonymity and basically saying like, you know, it is meant for kind of protecting and never showing what can be. But at the same time, if you can use the blockchain for positivity and show people that there's better adoption, people like you and I, like there's a lot of even crypto podcasts I go on. So it's like, you know what you're talking about. And then I know what I'm talking about. So we kind of all favor this topic, right? And it's like we all kind of marry and we go up. But for you, there's going to be a cool part where you're like, oh, tell me a little bit more about this or
Exactly.
whatever. And we can get into it, you know?
Because I don't want to say completely sold.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be sold.
Exactly,
That's just not,
exactly.
I'm more of just trying to soak in new information to hear your perspective, the moves that you're making in the crypto realm, and just to learn.
Yeah.
Right? But you were describing this community that you're plugged into and how they don't really know you face to face in the flesh, like just this digital world, almost like if you're playing a video game with someone for years, but it's just through, I don't know, what's a game that you play?
I mean, shit, I fucking play every game.
I'm not a gamer at all.
I'm not a gamer. Yeah, even if you're gonna laugh,
I was trying to think of what's the football game that everyone, Madden.
Duh.
I can't even think of Madden. But like, there's people that will play that for years.
Yes, and not even know but they're best friends,
exactly.
right? So my thing is, it goes back and forth. Like you would laugh because it is different for me. I'm trying to bridge the gap. So anonymity and basically sharing with who you are. There's two different things. You're gonna be blown away by some of the things I expose to you right now. Where there's people in this world, in my world. When I say my world, the crypto world, right? In our world and my world. So I'm gonna say the real world and the Web3 space. There's two different types of worlds here. There really are.
So let's start there.
Okay.
The Web3 space,
Okay. Are we rocking
blockchain.
We're going.
Yeah. We'll just go for it. Okay, so in the Web3 space, crypto, NFTs, all of these words that are thrown around, how would you start in like a baseline growing someone's knowledge of how the structure works? Like, where would you start?
Okay.
Would you start with crypto is birthing all of the NFTs and the different structures? What's like the baseline?
I guess the baseline that I talk to my parents more about, and I explain to people who are just naturally unaware of this space, is a QR code. Fastest way I can explain it. It's a digital asset. You literally own a QR code. From what I've, if you go to a concert, if you go to a coupon, if you have a coupon, right, or if you have entry anywhere and you just scan your QR code, you get into something, right, or you get something, or you fly, or like you can retrieve it, right? But without that QR code, how am I to know that that was yours, that that's your entry, right, that that's your seat to this plane, or that's your time to walk into this place? And once you realize that, you're like, oh shit, I've been understanding NFTs from such a long time ago. I just didn't want to, right? Because it is a non-fungible predominant token. It's a non-fungible product, which is meaning that I cannot recreate this specific QR code ever again. I cannot duplicate. I can't say I'm Zach Brown by any means because his QR code says that's his, and it shows everything to prove that, right? It even shows when he received that name, you know? And so what if the world ran through validated transactions like that?
So that's a
about that.
transaction. That's not identifying the currency.
Exactly.
So that is, if you are signing up through a platform and you input X credentials, they log your data. Now you apply a QR code to it. You have one individual and let's say one transaction,
Right.
which is a plane ticket that is then validated and it's kind of wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to have a future plane ride, you still use those credentials that you inputted, but now you have a new QR code.
Which essentially would be, for that case, a new NFT.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Because there's only one that exists?
Every time.
But then how?
So non-fungible means that it can't be duplicated.
Okay.
You just stated it, meaning that, yeah, you would have to go acquire a new QR code. You'd have to go purchase a new non-fungible token that has this utility, right? And once it's used, you can never use it again. But reverse end on that is, what if that QR code said you had unlimited uses? You could fly on the plane whenever you want with this. Think about how valuable that token would be, or that NFT would be, right?
Got it.
That's all it is.
What about the under one NFT, can't multiple people own the asset? So is it different in that sense?
It's fractionalization is, I guess we can get into that topic as well down the line. But yeah, you can. It's basically saying, I'll use a home, which is, I'll use a home in America for no SEC reasons for anyone outside of this place. But let's just say, yeah, we got in on a home together, and the NFT was a home. I bought it originally, but I bought it for a group of people, 10 people. We split the mortgage, we split the down payment, we split everything down to 10, and then we get the profits from the top. It's fractionalization. So going into an airplane, if it was, and the unique thing is a smart contract is built any way that you want it to be built. So it's like, however the project or the product or whatever the developer created said, hey, this allows you to have 10 people access this plane at any time, right? Then 10 people can partake in buying this NFT and using the contract that states that what it's allowed to be used for.
Got it. So you're just defining the utility.
Every time.
And then blockchain, the nature of that new transaction method, that's what's being applied to all of the NFTs.
Yes. And it's basically an open source. It's like, it's crazy. It's, imagine if I said, hey, what if I was able to look at everything Bank of America has done today by number. I don't know if it's Zach personally, but technically if you're saying, yo, like, here's my validation, like, that's the biggest thing that I love about blockchain is, like, your shit doesn't stink. 1, 2, you could immediately get to the source. So if you're like, yo, I'm a millionaire, right? Cool, send me your wallet. Send me your wallet address. Because all I have to do is type that into the soul scan, and I'll literally know how much your value is based on this wallet.
And then you can weigh risk measurement there with
1000%.
Selling an asset.
Yeah,
which a bank right now does that through, like, your credit score and all these complex measures.
It's their measures built up.
Yes.
Not you to you. It's not person to person.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So you're cutting the middleman out. And I think we've already gotten to such a unique, powerful point of crypto right now between you and I. We cut through almost all the bullshit right now. And we just got to, like, what the layman's terms of what NFTs are. Because now you start to realize, okay, now we talk about QR code. Replace QR code with just a sick ass art piece that you actually would put, like, on your phone, or that you'd rock as a PFP, right? But the utilities stand based on whatever the developers, whatever the product is, whatever the community, right, went off of it. And that's what makes you an advocate of said NFT project. Now, I'm talking on the better side of NFT projects. I guess we could talk real quick on the shitty side.
Yeah, we can get there real quick.
Cool.
A question. When there's so many tokens that exist, right? But if anyone is going to get involved, you still have to plug in, like, a fiat currency, let's say, in order to access the token. And then there's talks of, like, the transaction fee and whatnot. I don't understand, into the future, when are you going to be able to just assume a token or an asset, or are you always going to have to use a liquid cash to buy it?
Well, here's a question for you.
Okay.
Do you just get money?
No, you have to earn it. You have to provide value in somehow.
Okay, so there's projects just like mine we'll get into where, yes, essentially the entry fee is holding an NFT. So you have to purchase it still, but technically it's USD dollar value. It's like buying art. And then you get involved into this crypto realm, right? And you're able to now earn If the project is good, they create their own token. That token is based on value add, utility add, right? And then you can earn it for free from holding this NFT. It's like, if you understand kind of a little bit of crypto staking per se, it's basically taking value of something, holding it to lock in more value to make more of it, right?
I've had this explained to me once briefly in terms of like interest accrued.
It's exactly that. It's exactly that. Okay. So once again, we've also changed that in my own project, but the original meta is you take an NFT that you have and it's a holdership, it's ownership. And then to allow the project to show demand is there, they offer a way for you to never have it on the market, to never sell it, right? So when you hold it, you earn these tokens, X tokens. Let's use love as mine right now, even though I don't want to degrade love as a token, but let's just say token. That allows you to use the ecosystems that you're in, the NFTs project ecosystem, buy merchandise, raffles. It's typically almost 99% all on digital. So if it's like animation services, like just shit that you could do within the ecosystem, which is like, gives you like energy to be there, right? It's like if you're on Fortnite and you like got extra tokens to buy like avatars and shit like that. And then my whole focus was like, well, I don't want to do this just to be that. Like, I didn't want to raise a bunch of money because now there's people every day raising multiple millions of dollars to just do exactly what I just told you, which is not that enticing. Like, I didn't see anything about your eyebrows or your face be like great, you know? So
yeah,
what if
I'm still soaking in all this data?
Exactly. So for me, my whole point is, well, what if this token that you're receiving in an NFT could be used to book Airbnbs, to buy food in the real life, right? Because a token is a token until it's currency, used as currency, right? So my whole focus is to take that whole meta of, oh, we're owning these tokens that you come into this project and you make it a real cryptocurrency and allow it to be used for being a supporter or being someone that's holding this project, right?
Okay, and so where do you start from there? So you've undertaken 2 projects, right? One is called.
So I guess I can revert back a bit.
Yeah,
I can give you it all. I can give you it all.
Well, yeah, just to give people a structure of what we're talking about, because you have what's called Cursed Labs.
Yes. So
and then the token that you've developed with your team is money sign love capital LUV.
Yes.
That's the token.
Yes.
So break down the structure that you were just starting to get into so people can visualize what the Cursed Labs is and then that love token, what it gives you access to, and then what like the future vision is for it.
Right. So I guess I need to start from what we do now. So Cursed Labs was the original project that I launched in the Solana space. It was 5,000 NFTs sold at 2 Sol when Sol was around $100, $110.
Define Solana and Sol real quick.
So Solana is the fastest, most used blockchain in the space of blockchain. So meaning like Ethereum, there's like all cryptocurrencies, right? And they all have their own blockchain. And then each cryptocurrency has usable, like when you think of utilities, think of apps, right? So like Ethereum has a bunch of dope apps because everyone loved it last year, Bored Ape. So the more usability on said blockchain, more people want to build on it, more people are inclined to use it, right? So Solana was created around 2 years ago, and it was meant to mimic it was meant to mimic internet, right? And also meant to mimic, they call it the working man's blockchain because the fees are so low that it almost made people unattracted to use it. Because it's like, why is Ethereum charging me 30%? Like this is the rich way to go, right? Why is Solana charging only pennies? It's like, that's for the poor people.
So Solana is
is
like code. So the definition of blockchain is being built in many different capacities, and within those different blockchains, Solana, for example,
its own blockchain.
You can use different tokens or only their token?
So you can use, Solana is a token.
Okay.
This is where it gets fully mind blown because there's stable coins, which is USDC, like basically the US dollar, but in crypto.
Got it.
They call them stable coins, right? It's where like it can never basically go down from $1 or up from $1.
Well, it's just like you have a value, let's say, of USD equates to X amount of whatever token.
Exactly. So there's stable coins. Then you have crypto, which is Ethereum, right? Bitcoin, Solana. These are tokens that aren't considered shit coins. They're coins that have mad usability, mad market cap, mad supply, huge apps on them. I mean, like, dude, there's, Bored Apes. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's literally legit proof of concepts, case studies, and everything being used on them. They will be the hardest to ever go if crypto ever were to die. Those are the signals to show that they're dying if they go to zero.
Are they safest because of the security in the code and in combination of how many people are using them?
Yes, it's in combination of how many people are using them. Bitcoin is like the dad because he created it all, and it's more like you're using him as a base of, well, all the main liquidity is in Bitcoin. It's the peg. It's something that's showing like cryptocurrency could be alive, right?
Yeah.
And so when Bitcoin is strong at 40,000, you're looking at all the other cryptocurrencies that were built based on saying, hey, Bitcoin's kind of like the gold, it's slow, right? So I want to build another blockchain that's faster, but it's still built on the back of a Bitcoin, right? The energy. So that's Ethereum. Then all of a sudden, everyone's like, yo, Ethereum is super expensive. It's like the rich man's, it's like Bugattis, Lamborghinis. It's like when you want to transact and you don't give a shit about spending $500 for $1,000. It's literally like if I bought a dollar water bottle and I didn't care about paying $3 of the tax. Think about that.
It's just like the transaction fee is more
than almost 100%. And
so we'll get back into the Curse Labs and like your actual products. But another question is, right now when you were describing Bitcoin being like the father coin and there's all these different coins, my brain's going to a place of like brand awareness, which is usually associated with products and services.
Right.
You don't think of money as like a brand.
Right.
Like which, and I want your guidance, and like maybe I'm thinking about it incorrectly, because money is a value. It represents value of a product or service. You choosing a different product or service is based on like your trust and equity in that brand.
Yes.
So how does that apply to choice selection with what like coin you're choosing to use?
So
because it's weird. It's like currency shouldn't be a brand, no? Like
it is and isn't, because now it's saying where you should invest. So a lot of my Bitcoin maxis out here will like crush me for saying the wrong thing. So I want to say that it's like buying gold and silver in real life. Bitcoin is gold. That's literally how they use it, because it's safe. It's very strong in its value. It's built itself to up to 40,000 before, right? Even when the world crashed and it got down to 10, it jumped back to 40,000. So it's volatile, but it's also consistent. So you use that as a level of like, it's not even branding, it's proof. It's a proof of like result. So because of that, you're more comfortable with like kind of investing and working with other token or other cryptocurrencies that are close to that. Remember, cryptocurrencies are currencies that you could use them in a form. Tokens are like gift rewards, like for you to use in your NFT project. Does that make any sense?
Okay, so a token is not a
no,
cryptocurrency. They're different.
No, they're different. They're called those are called like shit coins or tokens, meaning that like you can't trade them on Coinbase. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't find them on an exchange because they're meant for like second layers. It's like Solana is a token, and then I built another token on Solana on the blockchain, and that can't be traded on Coinbase because it's not valued on anything. It doesn't have like liquid behind it. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have USDC. And that is why tokens are kind of like good and bad right now, because a lot of projects, if you were to be someone new, like you just said, I said, yo, hey, Zach, come over here to my new NFT project. You're going to earn $50 a day, but it's like, dollar bucks. It's like my token that I'm giving you. And then you're like, cool. So like you spend $300 for an NFT, you're earning like $50 a day in bucks, BUZK or whatever, BUKZ. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like its own little name.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, cool. What do I do with this? I'm like, oh, you can go buy our Bucks merchandise. You can go like, you can create, like you can get your NFT animated. So you're like, at one point you're like, wait, what the fuck? I bought this to just like use the rewards you gave me within your ecosystem. Why did I support you? There's like that type of energy. So it's sometimes some people are blind to that and they're like, oh, this is the coolest shit ever. Like I'm getting this like rewards to go and buy merch. But at one point as a real person, you're like, yo, this makes no sense. You just gave a company a bunch of money and now they're just creating this like way to reward you, but it's not even valued. You still have to pay for it in some type of way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So aside from that, the exchange for, let's say, a t-shirt, like an actual physical product with a token, if someone, the example you just posed, 300 in, earns X amount of those tokens, are they able to cash it out for USD?
You can, but the issue is it's based on the value of the brand. So that's the tricky part. And this is why I love what I'm doing. It's because the whole issue is I can use DGod, shout out to you, Frank, and like the DGods team. They, as an example, I could put this all up. The DGods is a group of misfits, and I'm a part of them as well. They started back in October, and they basically had a crazy up and down turbulence of growth because they were figuring out their way. The founder, Frank, was developing a system to create value to their holders, right? And so obviously a token is like what you almost like, it's like the first thing that you always do when you create a project. Now you're like, okay, I need to create a token to give to my holders. But they stood back and found a way to add immense value first so that it's called dust, that the dust did have USDC value. So it goes two ways. You can either pump a liquidity pool, meaning a project like mine has real businesses. So I could take, say, 80% of my Airbnbs, my restaurants or whatever, and back it behind my Love token, which is now cryptocurrency because it has a USDC value. Does that make any sense?
No, pause right there,
okay,
just so I can understand more. So when you're saying backing it with a USD currency,
I literally taking this token, I'm taking 1,000 Love and 1,000 USD, and I'm literally liquidating it together, meaning that this Love is now worth 1,000, like one for one, $1 right now. But if the market goes, holy shit, like for instance, we sell Airbnb consulting, $2,500 per person. We, like me, my own, I have now 53 under my partnership, making $2,000 to $3,000 a month, right? So I can teach you how to do that with proof of income, proof of result, and I do this on a daily basis. I'm charging right now $2,500 for the buy-in to learn, to have access to the course, and then $100 a month. But I'm also charging, I also accept Love, meaning that technically my holders who are getting Love every single day can now use this service for predominantly free. But say you don't want to wait because it takes you X amount of time every day to get Love, right? You're earning Love every day. That's like the whole marketability. How much Love is in your wallet? Yo, you owe me Love, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, It's all about like, show me some love, whatever you have. But at the same time, it's saying, damn, I want to learn today. So what do? You go to the market and you buy Love.
So teach me about the value of Love.
Okay, so I want to...
Just to be clear, Love is your token.
My cryptocurrency that I'm building and developing for the real world and the digital world.
Okay.
Yes, and I wanted to get into the DeGods thing first for Dust because it'll make a lot more sense into what I'm doing compared to the exact positive opposite of what they're doing. Okay. So they focused on value add, meaning that they backed their Dust with $0, right? But what they did was find a way to make people buy into Dust. That makes any sense?
Yeah. So when you say creating value, what is the value tied to?
What's your favorite artist in the world right now? Like, what's your favorite DJ? Fucking Jaws, right? Yeah. What if I said, yo, Jaws right now will literally do a 101 day, go out to eat with you, vibe with you, show you all of his riffs, show you everything he can do for 300 Dust?
I'd be like, okay.
Where the fuck do I go find it?
Yeah.
You go to you Google it, you find out DeGods owns it, you find out that DeGods yields Dust every single day for free, you go buy a DeGod.
So then DeGod would be the company like plugged into Jaws, like, hey, we have a product or service.
It's not even that. DeGod is adding the value to the holder, saying, yo, you could go to the market and buy it, but there's 10,000 people getting Dust for free every day. So meeting Jaws isn't an issue to them because they have that currency already. You get what I'm saying?
So they would approach Jaws and be like, you should represent your personal brand.
Yeah, but the thing is this shit's so crazy that Jaws is already probably a member if that was the case.
I think he already has.
But I'm just using that as an example. You use your own community because there's people. I don't want to give too much out, but shout out to you, Flosstradamus, and everything you're doing. I have some good friends that are working with him, and he's got a special NFT project that he's doing. So shout out to you. But there's very dope people, like I just named, Flosstradamus, Jaws. Yeah, they're doing their own thing, right?
So it sounds like, in order to enter that business structure and for it to work, you have to build a personal brand, a clothing brand, to a certain point in the real world to where you have a certain amount of traction and following, and then you can give someone access into it?
Kind of no, because the thing about NFTs is I think you're forgetting that every time we launch a project, you're inviting, if it's a 5,000 NFT project, you're inviting 5,000 new people to your community. DeGods was a 10,000 collection, right? Mm-hmm. Meaning that there's 10,000 people repping their own PFP out into the world talking about DeGods. Does that make any sense? And then you
my brain's a little lost.
Yeah, I'll bring it. Okay, let me start you with an NFT 101. Can I start off with that? Yeah. And you'll get it from there because it'll make more sense. I am brand new. I want to start a project. I have a mission and a vision, right? So I create a project to raise funds to create a brand that'll just destroy the world, making people more aware about blockchain and the NFTs. So I'm going to start here. to do this, I have to make artwork, right? I have to make whatever amount of money I want to raise. I'm just going to use it straight up. Whatever amount of money I want to raise to help a community do something spectacular is what I have to think of. So if it's, I want to raise $5 million or $2 million, I'm going to make 10,000 NFTs, right? At $200
Yeah,
or whatever the case,
is.
whatever that version is, right? And then I'm going to make a story behind it, a lore behind it, a project behind it, a brand behind it. So it makes sense because I'm not just going to go appeal to my normal investor and say, hey, I just need your money right now to go build a crazy brand called DGods. So what you do is you create a brand where people are like, holy fuck, like this is an NFT, it's tradable. It's like, I want to buy my DGod. Like I want to own this PFP because it resonates with like maybe being the next Bored Apes.
And what's PFP?
PFP is your personal profile picture.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like what represents you, right? Because at one point, you're overshowing your face. Zach, I know what you look like, Zach, but sometimes you want to be someone else, or like you want to hold like weight behind something that can represent you. And at one point, some of these PFPs, say you bought something at $200 and the worth is worth $200,000. You don't think you're going to show that off on your PFP?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So the level of prestige based on everything that's going. So I can get.
Yeah. When you're describing right now, like starting a new brand,
right?
Building a brand.
Right.
If it's a clothing brand,
right?
Are you just simply swapping out the currency being used, like to interact with your customers? Because when you were talking right now, I'm like, wait, why don't I just go, if I'm a young entrepreneur and I'm trying to make it in the world and I'm going to be all business savvy and get it going, why not just start like a regular t-shirt company and do grassroots selling products?
Just not, because that is not the way anymore. I mean, the thing is what I'm trying to state is, I'll get into mine now, but I just used, because I'm a holder of them and they've done very well with the branding. They are actually the exact opposite of my project, and why I bring them up so well is because they knocked out and focused on branding so much that they own a big three basketball team now. You know, like the big three that's out there. Have you heard of like with it's basically like it's like the NBA, and like it's a 3-on-3 team where like basically some of the top people of the NBA kind of fall off and they create like a three. Ice Cube owns a team or whatever the case may be. So DGods, they basically partnered up with Ice Cube, who owns a DGod, right? And that's what I'm trying to say. It's the social ability, but it's the brand building through that PFP. So you don't need to build a brand before. If I have 10,000 people saying, yo, I'll buy this NFT and be in your community, right? You have 10,000 people within your community that buy your merchandise in the first place because they want to support what you're doing, as well as now you have millions of dollars to add value to them because they gave it to you. So my biggest thing about why I'm doing what I'm doing is, like, even for my restaurant, Dejin Munchies, that we're renovating. I'm using this as, we're gonna do 5,000 NFTs per se. All right, it's gonna be called Dejin Munchies. It's like 5,000 girls with like very unique artwork. They're cultured. They're gonna be chewing, like eating food, and the whole storyline is behind us using this to add liquor license, right? Renovate the restaurant and give unique discounts to our holders who had supported us by buying these NFTs through gamification. So eat to earn, get free alcohol, get free drinks, get free food by either merging these two NFTs together that we hold, right? We find a way to use some of the money per se, the capital, as well as finding ways to give back to your holders from doing that. So DGods did that. They said, hey, I'm gonna give the DGod Foundation, or the 10,000 that they minted, right? They raised X amount of money.
Can I ask you a question real quick? For the structure,
yeah.
A customer going to your business, where do you provide the benefit? If I'm like, wait, I love food and drink and your like business, your food and drinks and whatnot, what's from stopping me just from going and paying dollar for dollar with current currency? Where are you building the value
exactly
to make it exclusive to, well, wait, you actually, if you are going to enjoy my food and drinks, you should want to be a part of this,
right? Because
you're actually getting more value than just coming in and buying a $20 vegan cheeseburger.
Right. And that was my point with them, is that Dust is free from the start for its holders, but it's expensive for anyone who wants to get it because of the utilities, meaning that you're telling me right now, I just told you, Jaws doesn't care about USDC now. He is a DGods member, as an example. All he wants is Dust. You could throw him a fucking $1 million. He's going to look at you and be like, that's not Dust. So what does that give you? It doesn't give you anything. There's no access. The dollar for dollar is nothing when that value doesn't give you the access to it, right? So you got to think of how many people that are me, for instance, I'm staking my DGod, meaning that I'm earning interest on Dust every day. I have Dust every day. So you who is like contemplating, like, Why do I need dust to get to Jaws? I'm like, dude, see you later. I already met him twice. You get what I'm saying? It's showing that there is a more value to use this token in value than, or this cryptocurrency token than a USD salt.
So the term value, what is at the finish line of this DeGod product?
And that's the tricky part, is why I like to speak to that.
So like where does it come full circle? Let's say you started off at $1,000 18 months ago. You've been earning interest, whatever it may be over time. Let's say my $1,000 from 18 months ago, I'm here today and I want to go spend it in the real world.
You can cash it out.
Okay, so you can cash it out, or you can continue to buy different assets with it, whether it's digital, whether it's exclusivity to a concert or an event. Like you would have to show it at the front door.
And the reason why they get to cash it out is why it's so important. We're honing in on this, is because they get to cash out based on someone else's buy-in for wanting to still get the same utilities as the DeGods holders. So think about the value I'm trying to tell you, is that basically, as much as we're trying to get away from the SEC, from everyone in crypto, he's offering income to his holders. Because as much as it costs 16 grand right now when Solana's low. My most DeGods typically are $32,000 to get right now. Each one.
Yeah, and not that it's wrong, because like a stock and the stock market works like this. So that value, that increased value over time, is based off of more individuals buying into the pool.
Exactly. And so you could either sell your DeGod, which you'll never get dust anymore, which now you have to buy on the market, right? Or you could keep your DeGod, and that's why the value. That's what I'm trying to tell you, is it's all about building value. The team was so cracked about realizing, like, yo, how do we find a way to make dust so valuable that everyone wants to buy it, even though our holders get to just get it for free? And then you start to add that, like for instance, dust at one point was at $5, meaning that I was making $150 a day for weeks because dust was at $5 and I was making 30 dust a day.
And that's just because you got in at a certain time and more people were buying into the pool?
Yes.
Inflating quote.
Yes, because they want to get involved. They want to use these utilities. They wanted to get to Jaws, right? But they had to pay for it. Yeah. And because they bought into it, the value rises. I get to go and cash out. And that's why, like, adding value, and that's why dust is so powerful. So now let me go to love. Love is the exact opposite. Love isn't built based on finding ways to just keep adding value so you buy into like love, because we've also seen dust go from $5 literally down to like 30 cents, like 62 cents, right? Jeez. Because it's liquidity bounced by people buying in and out. You know what I'm saying?
It's the nature of so many people have these problems with the tokens, is it's, for lack of a better term, like a get rich quick scheme, is people are categorizing it that way. Because if you're hopping in to a token and inflating the price, it's that same structure, kind of like an MLM, let's say, to where the earlier you're in, you are going to earn money. But if there's no value, the motive from the very beginning for all those investors is just like, okay, I'm hopefully going to earn money. I'm going to cash out. And if enough people do that, that's what causes a $5 to a 30-cent drop.
Exactly.
So if the structure, the value of the product and service needs to be there. Otherwise, people are just treating it like a get rich quick scheme.
And so now this is the fun part where it comes into the two, is that dust on its own is phenomenal, because the way that they built it originally was they basically bought $30,000, $40,000, $60,000 NFTs, and then they gave them out for raffles, right? So it's all about circulation. You have to understand that tokenomics is still a microeconomic circulation of deflation, inflation, and adding. Like every token, every project that builds a token, think about building a micro world of currency. You know what I'm saying? So it has to have deflations, burning mechanics. Imagine the real world. There's like money that gets lost, right? There's money that gets buried that never gets picked up. So you have to mimic that ecosystem or shit will just never work out. And so they created a way to add value by saying, hey, we're going to buy $50,000, $60,000 NFTs and we're going to raffle them off to our holders, right? So all this dust that they could use to exchange, like you just talked about, instead, they found a better use case to say, damn, do I exchange it for $1 or do I have a chance to raffle off this token that I have? And then they suck back this money or these tokens, right? And then they can keep it within circulation.
So does that make any sense? That makes sense. And then I'm going to ask a question. If you need to pause it and answer it later after you describe love, please tell me. So interacting with products and services and value in the real world, right now, I cannot go to In-N-Out and buy my favorite burger with a token. Yes. I can't go buy my favorite car. I think Tesla, maybe
Yeah.
certain sectors of under Musk or accepting certain cryptos. But in describing the future, what do you foresee realistically when it's going to be a mass adopted service, for one? And then for two, I mean, we have one USD dollar that you can transact with in the United States. If a foreign agent comes over, you just like if we go somewhere else, you have to exchange your currency at a place.
Exactly.
And that's how you're able to perform transactions in that country. So in the future, whether it's scanning machines, do you envision I can go use a token to buy an In-N-Out burger?
So this is why I'm here. Honestly, you just led to the only reason why I'm even in cryptocurrency. I'm even in crypto is because personally, as someone who owns restaurants, who owns Airbnbs, who is traveling the world very shortly in a few, right? You have all these like issues that you come across where like, I want someone from Europe to be able to not worry about coming here and just spending. And so I guess I could now dial in is that, my focus of why I'm here is that I'm merging the blockchain with the real world. If you were to ask me why I do this and why I'm on this call and why we're talking and why I'm trying to break down into what I'm breaking down to, is that in the next 2 months, that's going to happen. Like, it's not envisioning and hoping. I have a restaurant that's going to accept crypto in the next 30 days. And then after that, I have 53 Airbnbs that are going to accept crypto in the next 2 weeks. And then I have a team in the UK, right? Shout out to the Ville and the hotel out there. But if everything goes out well, we're going to acquire a hotel out there, and you're going to accept love in crypto as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, copy that.
So now you're able to now see the ecosystem that's being built through what we're doing. And now people like you and I, my mom, my dad go, holy shit, this makes sense. Like,
so the lights just really like went on. The dots connected with what you just said. So you have to preface it with some sort of real world value, whether it's a digital asset like a painting or whether it is your restaurants. The way you are plugging in your specialty in your ecosystem is the fact that you have brick and mortar businesses already there. You're creating this digital ecosystem around it now just to provide people with a new way to transact with your business.
A positive use case.
Yes, a positive use case. And over time, your job, if you want to utilize crypto, is to convince the customer that you are better off transacting with my business through love rather than dollar for dollar USD, because you're going to get all of these benefits. So you're in a good position because you have that real world brick and mortar infrastructure, but there's lots of folks out there that are just creating a token. Hey, we've got these future projects planned. Our token's going to be the shit.
This, not the
but
other.
Here, give us all the money. We need it, of course, to build and to pay people who are writing the code and build the project and whatnot. So that makes sense because you are directly applying it and just offering it as a way to enter the ecosystem of the restaurant. You're rebranding it. What's it called?
Rebranding Degen Munchies or Degenerate Munchies.
Okay.
It's like a crypto term, and then our Airbnbs. And to tie to that now,
And
so
we'll put it up on the video right now.
dope. So yeah, Degenerate Munchies, love Tokenomics. You guys can check that out as well. But yeah, it's the reverse of Dust because we are funding love, meaning that Dust was built on a unique genius mindset of the team to say, how can we get people to buy into like Dust without us adding liquidity to it, right? My whole case in point is, how can I get love to the exchange as fast as possible? And I want to liquidate, like I want to add liquidity, because originally my project was supposed to share 80% of the rewards, we call it, right, from the SEC, rewards of our businesses to our holders. And then I started to do the math, and I'm like, yo, all these tokens are being worth more because it's a smaller market cap than the US dollar, right? So imagine if you found a way, like we just talked about, buying into it. Unique use cases that make the outside world say, damn, like if I'm from Pakistan, you know, I don't want to go convert my money to USD. I can go to Love, and guess what? Degen Munchies, Airbnbs, you can stay with us. You know what I'm saying?
Because there's exclusivity, so that just there's less of them, so you can't just constantly print
exactly what I'm trying to say. So the value just shoots through the roof, right? And that's better for my holders because, or in layman's terms, they call them investors, right? I mean, but it's really holders in the safety because they're holding an NFT, but they're holding shares to said project. That's literally what it is, dude. Is an NFT is basically a company that's raising stocks with stocks, and each share is an NFT.
Got it.
Each NFT that they have is that you own. So if you own 5 of those NFTs, you basically own 5 stocks based on whatever that they do. And you could buy, sell, and trade those stocks based on what they do and their value. And you could hold them and receive rewards from them as well.
Got it. So in foreseeing the future, it seems like there's going to be a bunch of little exclusive clubs of business owners, let's say writing their own code and NFTs and blockchains and stuff, to where instead of almost having the outward approach where you're trying to push your token, your exclusivity onto others, you're hoping that there's outreach and enough brand awareness to where that fellow from Pakistan you were just describing, he wants to interact with that ecosystem that you created.
Yeah, and it's already done, because the thing is if you want, for instance, if you want to use any of my services, so we do consulting like we've talked about. So Curse Consulting, Curse Labs, DeFi District is a full-blown consulting agency. So we do everything from web design, graphic design, photos, videos, animations, we do advising, tokenomics, finance. I mean, we do it all. And we do it predominantly for the Web3 space, looking to work with like Web2 real world businesses. So restaurants is a huge one that we're focusing on. Airbnb is a big one. So like, we have our own, we're expanding, but we're also building a network of other Airbnb arbitrage rental owners and saying, hey, like there's another way that you can earn, you can basically create an income, right? And what allows people to say is that for me, our services, if you were to see what we offer, you're like, holy shit, like I've talked to you about it. I was like, yo, you're getting things on Amazon. Do you need a website built? Did you need a UI built? Did you need it done in less than 2 weeks, right? Did you need animations for it? Did you need SEO? We could do that. But the thing is, we only accept love for our services, right? So you look at how enticing that is. You're like, wait, 2 weeks? You can get this in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like you're starting to realize, like, damn, is this worth actually buying into love to get this done? Because I really want to get this. I want to get my shit done. I want to get my business my business built, my branding done, and that's what we're building. Because there's so many people, not just you, but outside of you, that are looking in, being like, damn, I want these services. I want to learn how to run my own Airbnb. Guess what? We only take in love. So I can teach you how to make $3,000 a month per unit, meaning that if you have 10 units, you can make $30,000 a month.
Okay, so two questions real quick. The first one, when you were going to create this enterprise, why did you not select to just accept regular currency for your products and services in the media and agency? Because
the thing is that I am fully an advocate of the Web3 space. Okay. I'm fully an advocate of blockchain technology.
Even at the detriment, let's say, of you could make a solid amount of money, just regular USD dollar money, you rather accept love for, what's the benefit to you?
Well, the benefit is for my holders. Remember, I started this to give value to my holders who have given me value to go expand this crazy fucking business that we're building out. Like I would never in my mind realize that we're going to go acquire a fucking hotel in Manchester on Canal Street if that was the case. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like, dude, come on now. So at the same time, why would I not give as much as I can back to make my holders happy? So when they're like, some of my people started with me, they bought 10 NFTs or whatever the case may be, right? I use that as an example. If we add the value that we plan to add, like I do, like I'm saying, their floor price per se, and I hate talking about this, but their stocks or whatever the fuck, goes from $200 to 10 grand. They sell 3 of those, and they're still in holding. You get what I'm saying?
I think
it's adding the value of making sure love does what it does. Like I brought up how Dust did their own thing, right? So we add our own liquidity to it. It's predominantly, go ahead, holders, if you want to chip a little bit and show your mom that you could take her out because you're earning love every day from investing into us, go ahead. But if you also want to go and use it, and like for instance, I use Pakistan and the Philippines a lot because I have a lot of my team out there, and they always want to travel the world. They're like, dude, I want to get out of what's going on with the politics here. I want to travel. Guess what? They're earning the same amount of love as someone in America. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And so the adoption and people out there like, yo, fuck it, I'll buy more love to be able to get to this access, right? And that value adds into love. And now everyone who's holding it, like my holders, they get that. And that was my whole gift, is you guys give me capital to do fucking superhero shit in the world, then I will make sure that you guys are also superheroes and taking care of everything that we do. Now, not every project does that. So don't take my formality and my system that I'm talking about as like what NFTs do, because 99% of the NFTs, they're called rugs. Basically, they create this whole facade of a project, a brand, right? They create the imagery, they create a Discord community, and then they pay for hype. They sell out, and then they make literally $3 million, bro, in 1 hour. And the next day, Discord's done, Twitter's broken, gone.
Jeez.
And they just suck liquidity out. And then you could watch on the Soul Scan, you could watch the exchange, boom, gets to Coinbase, cash out for USDC. They just stole $3 million out of Solana space, and then they just walk off with it. So my whole point was, I'm raising a third less than most of these ruggers that literally make money every day on the space, right? To do something just completely different than the meta. That's why they call me meta in the space, is because I'm trying to change the really negative shit that a lot of people walk into. Like if you were just by yourself, I was like, yo, enter Solana crypto Twitter. You'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like, holy shit, am I just with a bunch of like 12-year-old kids? In some sense. And then you start to realize that there's people like you and I in that area too. Like you have to drown them out and find the right people pushing the meta. And I believe that Solana is going to be here to stay. And because of how fast the technology is, and like I use the transferring of transactions, being able to send 50, 30, 60, 70, $80,000 with no one permitting, like there's not like a thing that says, hey, there's a limit to this. You know what I'm saying? Or hey, you got to pay this to do this. It's literally a tenth of a penny to send millions of dollars or a dollar, right? And it could send it to anyone with just Wi-Fi, like you just brought up. And that's why I think it's so powerful, is because you don't have Bank of America in Europe. You don't have Chase in Europe. But I can go to Spain right now, and as long as they have Solana Pay, which accepts Love, which is a module on it, just like tapping, I could go to fucking Spain, I could go to Europe, I can go to Asia, and use the same currency everywhere without worrying about exchanging. And that's the whole focus about why we built Love, right?
Got it.
And that's what Love is. It's like, it's this universal, it's cryptocurrency. It's not a token because it's meant to be used as currency, right?
Got it.
Yeah.
So that second question was going to be the Airbnb space.
Right.
What's that structure like? So you said multiple times how your investors, of course, and another note on what you said, I don't think there's anything wrong with being transparent about giving any sort of investors the future look at weird hustling and bustling in order to get you a return on your investment. Because that's still what it comes down to, right?
Right.
Base level. So the Airbnb, I'm assuming, is what's tying into that. That's going to be the part of the business model,
right,
to earn.
So yeah, exactly. So the whole case in point was to take these. The first start of it was when I was a little more naive in understanding how to best create value for my holders, right, my investors. I'm just going to use holders because we dance around a lot of these SEC issues by saying the way that we say.
Okay.
Right. But just take those formalities. NFTs or shares, right? Holders are investors. Literally that.
Got it.
And so with that being said, it was, I was basically telling my team and my holders that, we'll split 80% of this expansion of Airbnbs, right? But then when we did the math, it was like, even if we made $20,000 a month, each share NFT got $4, right? Like compared to a token that people are getting right now, they're $7 a token that they're getting. How is that possible?
So is that almost like a dividend when you're saying that someone's going to earn?
That's why it's tricky. That's why I'm not trying to say it's staking. It's because there are projects that focus on that. You literally get an NFT and it'll tell you, you buy this NFT, you get 30 of this a day. Does that make any sense? Mm-hmm. So you know what you're getting. Mine's a little different where you get an airdrop because we're trying to change the meta again. But that's the normal part of it, is you get a base dividend of how much token that you get that you could basically get, use, exchange, or whatever. But the value could be zero. So you literally no one's buying into the token, and it's $0, right? Mm-hmm. But most people buy into, if it's a good token, if they want to win a $30,000 raffle and they only have 10 of their tokens and the raffle's 30, you're gonna go spend $30 to go buy the other 10. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And that adds $30 to the liquidity of the market, which the next person could either go and exchange or keep there. And the more that the project focuses on keeping value there, the more money that's locked into the pool. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And that's why it's so unique, why I brought up that whole DeGods thing, is because that was their whole focus, was like every day they wake up and they're like, how the fuck can we make the dopest value to our holders that makes people just go crazy into buying into dust? And then how do we find a way to take the dust on the back end so there isn't an exchange? Does that make any sense? Mm-hmm. So then now there's this like locked in value that dust is growing. That's how you can see it stuck at $1, because people used, instead of exchanging, they used it for raffles. The raffles got ate up by the brand. The brand's using that as a way to either hold or re-exchange and resend the dividends out in a way that it's called circulation. It's tokenomics at its best. If you have a project with the right economic majors, like I brought on, right, an economic professional, masters in finance, they create these community ecosystems for you, right? That allow people to say, hey, this is what you should charge per love for the discount, right? Because it's still got to make sense. I can't just go say, hey, it's only 5 love for my $2,500 like class, right?
Or what about the Airbnb? So
okay,
how does
so
it tie
so let me tie
Airbnb?
into it. So the Airbnb thing is unique. I started with Airbnbs because of the restaurant industry was basically made me go down to zero for my own personal salary. Any money that I was making in restaurants went out the door 2 years ago. So I had to keep the restaurant going and keep people happy because pandemic was tough. I met Rafa, who's now my business partner in DeFi District. Curse Labs grew into DeFi District, and Leo. And Rafa is a serial professional real estate and arbitrage agent and real estate professional entrepreneur, meaning that he started already with like 30 Airbnbs before he met me. When I met him and I had a conversation, in 15 minutes, I had 5 units in less than 24 days or 24 hours that I took myself based on his guidance. Then we got together because he's like, yo, I don't want you to destroy or fuck up my market, right? So I'm going to teach you how to do everything. And that moment broke me because, in a good way, because it created a real passive income that I never earned before. I'm talking about, I use it, dude, $1,800 is like my lowest personally. $1,800 to $3,000 a month per unit, right? And I had 5 units. Mm-hmm. So that's what I was making. I mean, for me, you start to realize like, holy shit, why aren't more people talking about this? Why aren't you doing this, right? So that's what made me use what that was to merge with the blockchain. Because for me, it was like, damn, if someone in the Philippines, if someone in the other side of the world understood how to not only run their own business, but also maybe invested into a project like this, they'd be able to earn dividends or rewards, right? Perks, utilities, whatever the case may be, by getting into a project like so.
Can you clarify for an Airbnb, like they have an app. So if you want an Airbnb, aren't you going to just go on the app? You're talking about owning the Airbnb?
Yeah, so I'm talking about rental arbitrage is the main thing. Rental arbitrage is...
I don't even know what that means.
Okay, so arbitrage is super simple. It's literally taking this desk that you've had forever. You don't need it. You don't use it. And I say, hey, I'm literally going to use this desk for podcasts every single day. I'm going to pay you $30 a month because it costs you $30 a month for it, or say it costs you $15, so you want to make $15 on it. I'm going to tell you, though, I'm making $3 million a month on it. You don't give a shit, though, because at the end of the day, you only wanted $15 a day for it. Does that make any sense? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to you saying, yo, I'm going to pay you 2 times what you want, and I'm also going to make 20x what you're making for this table in the same room, though. Is that okay? Cool. That's what arbitrage is. It's basically going to a landlord saying, yo, I don't want to pay your mortgage, or I don't want to own the liability of your land, but I'll pay your mortgage because I could make 5 times the amount of its mortgage on a high season. Are you okay with that?
Okay, so when you said you had 5 properties, you don't own the properties.
No.
You're basically an agent representing
I wouldn't say I'm an agent representing them. I'm saying I'm going to the landlord and saying, yo, I'm basically the interim landlord for the amount of time that you give it to me. Does that make sense?
And you're paying them
just their
X amount?
Yeah, just the rent that they want, because they're not worrying about the liability of their land. Most of these landlords have been in the game for 20 years. They want to go fucking play golf in the Cayman Islands, whatever the case may be.
So
right?
Their upside would be, if you came to them,
automation. It's automation.
So if they're not lease or renting out or Airbnb-ing their place consistently, then that of course is a deficit on their
right. But
budget.
They wouldn't do Airbnbs in the first place because it's a whole system. You can't just you can't even turn this into an Airbnb like tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? You have to have photos. You have to have the right SEO. You have to already be a 5-star super host. So you need to find a group. Does that make any sense?
So you're creating an Airbnb profile for some of these
No,
owners?
We are literally just taking over each property and saying, yo, don't worry about this anymore. You don't have to worry about evictions. You'll get a 3% raise per year on your rent, and we're good to go, right? And so they're literally saying, thank you, dude. Thank you for taking 15 units at one time from our hands, so we don't have to worry about evictions. We don't have to worry about applications. We don't have to worry about vetting. We don't have to worry about, they don't do any of that shit. We take all 15 units, we furnish them, we revamp them, we run our own management system through them, from laundry, clothing, cleaning, all of that. And we make $2,000 to $3,000 more than the mortgage that's set that they want to make them happy.
This is the bread and butter I was trying to understand, is what the actual the product, the value, the services.
Yes, and it's rent. It's just it's a masterclass. It's teaching you how to make this space make you the money, because it's not just going to make you money as much as you think it's going to make you.
And
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, and that customer, is it like a traveling nurse, or is it someone looking for long term?
I mean, dude, we're booked out. Our system books out 76% anywhere we're at of occupancy.
Nice.
So you pay for that. Does it make any sense?
Yeah,
And my focus is that we're not the only people that need to do that. When we can teach people around the world within our group, like I just told you, we're an international group of people who hold Curse Labs, DeFi District, you know, and at the same time, what if they wanted to run their own business and co-host, right? So we're basically giving them the access to use us and partner together to create an actual real world income. So not like some Ponzi or some like SEC issues, what I'm talking about with the tokens, right? Some real passive income in the real world by running a real business, learning by real professionals, right? And the only way to get access to us is through either being a holder or by buying love. If that makes any sense.
That came full circle.
Exactly.
So you just wrapped the physical, tangible product and service, and the exclusivity is through the currency basically that you created. So you mentioned Ponzi scheme, and I think it's important to talk about the ethics in business.
Yes.
In all facets of life, whatever industry you're in. What has it been like, your guiding principles in navigating through the ups and downs of business? What do you try to filter everything through in decision making?
I use a lot of my Web 2 backing and relation building and a lot of my experience, because I'm not perfect, and I think I went through a lot of learning in the real world. It sounds funny probably from you when you're like, I'm talking about like the real world and Web 2, but there is literally a Web 3 side of this space. So like, think of the world as two worlds right now, because there's like literally people just building like crazy on Web 3. Like,
yeah, I'm more after the ethics behind the decision making.
Right. So that's where I come into play. Is if you think of me as like Robin Hood, that's what I'm trying to be. Is that there's so much money being thrown around, so much, like, I don't know how to use the word, and I use scum as like as the example, because it's pretty scummy. Like, there's a lot of negative shit that's going on. A lot of pump and dumps. Like you just told me, your friend told you to buy this at $1,100, and you bought it at $1,100. You wake up like the next day, it's at $100 at $1, right? Because those people are winning off your buy-in. I use that exchange as like buying in from the value, right? If you can't get into this token, so you buy into the token and people cash out on you. So my whole premise is saying, hey, I want to show people the good contribution, and I need to be the light. There isn't a lot for me to go off of. There isn't advisors saying, hey, this is the best way to treat the blockchain and be positive. The best thing about the blockchain is that it's open, meaning that no matter what move you make, you can see it. So you have to justify that. Now realize that I am face to face with you talking about this, and 99% of the world, all the project leaders who raised 5 times more money than I have, will never show their face. Does that make any sense? Because it's integrity.
Too risky.
It's too risky for them. But why, if you're doing something legitimate and you're trying to focus on doing something positive? That's my whole case in point. So I can't say, I'm just trying to be the exact opposite, meaning that I don't need to hide my face as much. Obviously, I'm protected. Like, I'm creating security measures from my CCW, from like not knowing where the fuck I live anymore. If you notice, I don't post anything almost on my socials anymore, naturally, right? But at the same time, I believe that if I'm looking to raise millions and millions of dollars, which I'm looking to do even more than what I did. I only raised $1 million for a real world project for like expanding into like real estate. Think about that, $1 million. Come on, dude. Like, most of these projects raise $5, $6, $3, $4, $5 million and are doing like clothing and like a merchandise brand. You know what I'm saying?
Way less overhead.
And then they're just siphoning the money out. I don't want to get into that, right? That's what I'm talking about. Like, but for us, we put 80% of this investment, 90% of basically $800,000 into what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? So it can create something special as we go. Now, thankfully, it's already catching on, meaning that like we are expanding faster than I thought we would. My whole focus was like using love as a US currency first and then getting out to international realms. But now, like I said, if we acquire this hotel, which we're focusing on doing, if this all makes sense, we're talking about, love is international already. You know what I'm saying? Then it just takes me to go to Singapore with my team out there, get a few units out there. Now love is available in Singapore.
Nice.
The adoption rate is being like, damn, like my holders are seeing the value of us building, and they've been here since the start, and that's what they're going to get. Remember that they're getting this yielded for free, right? While everyone else will have to buy into it. And that's the whole like reward.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you have a timeline for your holders of what you see the future being like with love and expansion?
Yeah, so
and of course it's not word of God right now. You're just making a
but uniquely
estimate.
enough, they're yielding another token called Zion right now, which is like a friend and a partner team that created a unique token. It's like a multi-utility token. Excuse me. It was meant to basically be something that we were going to push for love, or like in before love was fully created. Let's put it this way. But we realized that we needed to harness our own currency for it to be very like to make it make sense, to have our authority, to have our ownership, right? And to make me very passionate about going out and living. So our holders are actually yielding Zion right now, but love is going to drop in about 30 days. We're raising a private IDO for it. So we're doing 1 million tokens, 1 million love cryptocurrency tokens, and we're vesting it to private investors. And then once we raise that, I'm going to match that with our team. And then we're basically going to launch it to our holders, which will already start love at $1, $1 USD for one love, right? And our holders will receive that and be able to use it immediately for whatever services that we have already.
Cool.
All right.
So you're not after applying love to the world at large in terms of like this is the main currency. You're only focused on like keeping your head down, building value, and then that love, that token is going to be used just for your network. So you're not trying to apply it to every single person.
I will soon. That's just not the first stage.
Okay.
Right? I mean, everything needs adoption before utility, right? So if you think of anything, it needs adoption.
So you think one day you'll be able to use love to buy any sort of products and services?
Based on...
Or only the ones that are in your network?
Well, within my network I built. So not my network of like holders, right? Because the whole thing is you're going to go literally on Love Token. You can go on lovetokenomics.com right now and check it all out. Like all of it's there. Lovetokenomics.com, right? LUV. And so at
Grant,
that...
can you pull that up?
Yeah, and what that whole case in point is, you could read it. You could be very, like, when it's live, you're going to be able to buy love right then and there. So it's literally a website I can send you. And if you're captivated about it, if you're going to Spain and you type up the geolocation of all your favorite restaurants or your favorite meeting spots and they accept love, why would you not buy it to not realize that you don't have to go exchange currencies then?
Yeah. So
does that make sense?
Yeah. So that those favorite restaurants, are they going to have to choose one day to be a receiver of love? Like, so I'm after... at large, these different businesses in accepting those different types of coins and value. Like,
you have to. So as a restaurateur, I market that, and I know how.
And do they just use a computer, or are they going to have like a special credit
it's
card?
It's literally like Apple Pay. It's literally not even, dude. It's literally the modernized form of technology. So if you go to left, scroll down a bit, all the way down, and then go to the document.
It's a cool logo, by the way.
Thank you, man. Go down a bit to download Tokenomics. You'll see like, let's make sure it pops up. So this is literally the ecosystem. I'm telling you, bro. This is shout out to Hercules. We call him the godfather of modern tokenomics. He's a master's in finance and mastering circulation, inflation, deflation.
Yeah, this is like a nice, really nice infographic, a PDF.
And it'll get numerical as he scrolls a little bit, as you see. So you're going to basically see your partners, the treasury from holders, and the love in itself, where everything goes down to the IDO, how we stake it, how the team is distributed from it, right? How the micro ecosystem is done, how the project utility has from the gaming side. So something I talked about, we have a full gaming development team. So like imagine like Need for Speed, but like wagering love, right? So you could like wager love. Me and you can play Need for Speed together on a PC game, which is built by my devs, and we could wager love on it, and whoever wins it will get that. You know what I'm saying? So it's finding utilities that allow people to use it as well instead of exchanging it all the time.
I could see like Snoop Dogg partnering with love.
Oh, it's similar. Yeah.
He kind of, I feel like he could use that.
You got these numbers here, which once again, this is meant for vesting, right? So we have private investors that are looking at this. My holders are looking at this because they're going to get involved into it. This shows you where all the allocations are going and how this is going to move forward. This is not something that was drawn up, right? That was just like drawn on paper and then guessed. This was ran through so much, like so many systems, so many processes, how much we would charge this, how would the Airbnbs be incorporated, how much merchandise would be incorporated. So people have the understanding that this thing can last forever. It's 100 million supply, but the way that it's being distributed and that the way that the allocations are done, It's phenomenal. It's beautiful.
And it could be fractionalized too.
Dude, 100%. And that's why, so it gets crazy. So the fractionalization comes with partner projects. All my clients that I partner up with that want to do the same thing, they're like, yo, Meta, I'm using Meta because that's what they call me. It's funny, it's how it is. But I'm trying to merge in the middle, right? And they're like, yo, I want to create my own token, but I want to be supported by love. Well, we fractionalize their own token. So they say if it's a Mutant Minor Rats is like one of our projects. Shout out to them. It's a client that we're overseeing.
Say it again.
Mutant Minor Rats. They're basically mining Bitcoin. Their real utility is like they mine Bitcoin and then they're going to share their dividends with their holders, right? So think of like the utility or whatever the case may be. So they would have Mutant Love, right? And basically they buy, you could see the fraction. So scroll down a little bit more, Grant. This will show you kind of how we distinctify, but they would buy love from their own pool and then we would fractionalize that love into Mutant Love. So one love would be 1,000 Mutant Love. And then they would airdrop or stake that to their holders. Their holders would then take that fractionalization and go back to their pool, like the Mutant Miners pool, and exchange it for love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we're fractionalizing the value. So everything is done based on a way that it's made to the right sense. It's not like we're printing more. Like all of a sudden a partner wants to get involved and we're like, hey, let's print out more love for you and create some shitty inflation. That's what that's what America is, right? We're creating ways to stop that. And you bring on economic majors and professionals to create these systems, because I can't think of this shit. I can't think 10 years out how this is going to work from this end and this end, right? And so you have to find people if you're serious about it. Most projects won't. They'll just create some fucking token and be like, yo, you're yielding 20 a day. Here you go. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm going to drop this PDF in the beginning of the video, and then we'll also put the website in the link. Right. Just because I think this will be helpful too for people to check out in the beginning.
1,000%. And
wow, man. Dude, this is going to be crazy where you're going to be at in 10 years. That's one thing I've always really respected about you is you're always on the cutting edge, just trying new things, and we all fail, right? There's ups and downs, but I think the nature of just trying, something's got to hit.
Yeah.
And I think if the value is true to your heart, like you're not doing a Ponzi scheme, but you're trying to remain ethical in your business endeavors, as long as you keep trying, it's just like investing. The biggest, most important part of the equation is to the power of T. It's always time.
100%.
So like as long as you're just hustling and bustling and keeping it going, I think I really think this could be something, man.
Yeah, and like my thing about it is it's, I know that I even tried today because I'm like, man, we do so much about what I have to share. It's very valuable because we do a lot. So I guess I'll wrap around the final end so people can get everything, and then you let me know how you want to proceed from this end. So the start is Curse Labs was created to be a consulting agency for other projects in the real world. We realized that as well as to tie into the Airbnbs, give our holders a unique perk. It's almost like a timeshare, right? Where you get to basically stay for free and show your family around the world. Mom, do you want to go to UK? Cool. I got 50,000 love, whatever I could use. I could book out 17 days, They're like, what the hell? How did you do that? I didn't even use any money. I just supported this project. That was like the whole case in point. But then we realized that the Airbnb business can't be stuck under Curse Labs because Curse Labs is an NFT branding project, right? Me and branding is a big thing. So I wanted to split everything I'm doing. So everyone, if I wanted to sell my Airbnb product to you, you won't be stuck being like, what the fuck? This is crypto. You won't even almost know if that makes any sense. So DeFi District is the ecosystem. It's the multi-dimensional world that all of my businesses live in now. It's the tip of the umbrella. It houses Curse Labs, which is a consulting agency. It houses Distortion Studios, which is an animation and branding agency. Think Disney, Pixar, all the dope shit, web design, all that, right? It holds Stride VIP, which is an STR, short-term rental agency. It's Airbnbs. It not only has 53 plus growing Airbnbs that you could use for rentals, we teach you as a consulting firm how to operate and own your own businesses as well, right? And then you have Degen Munchies, which is Munchies, the restaurant. You know what I'm saying? And Love Tokenomics. So all of these live symbiotically together in the real world and in the digital world. And that's why DeFi District is so big. And Love will be used as a currency for all of them, right?
And DeFi District is the mother company per se. Cool.
Yeah. And that's where it is and where we're at right now. And we're building out DeFi District right now, meaning that within 2 weeks, every single brand I just said to you, you go to DeFiDistrict.xyz, you'll literally see all the brands basically on a lap. Like we're building like a laptop, and you just scroll left, right, left, whatever backdrop, like background you want to see, you click on it, you'll get into the website, right? And then you'll get into, if you want to book Airbnbs, you can book it with USDC Sol, you can book them with Love, whatever the case may be. And that is a gift to our holders, meaning that our holders are going to be airdrop Love, right? They're going to be given this, and they could use this Love in this entire ecosystem for free.
And then as you open up a hotel in England, they'll be able to use that value to go stay there.
And some people, yes, are getting it for free. That's the goal to my holders. But remember that there's an outside world being like, yo, like I get that makes sense. I'm going to go buy Love now before it goes higher, say, right? And you're locking in that value, which my holders get to have a blessing for. So if Love was at $1, but the outside world buys into it, Love goes to $4, guess what my holders still get to get? They get Love for free still. That's the whole case in point is my goal is that they gave me funds. I'm going to go return them with rewards. And then we're going to keep that ecosystem going because maybe one day again, I may want to receive more funds to do the same thing. And as long as you do your job, it's easier to keep doing your job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the proof of concept over time, the real world use case that you describe will become more solidified as the business model lasts. Do you think that this is going to really appeal to the youngest generation now who are growing up with these technologies? I mean, there's people tuning in right now that are doing their best to really absorb and learn the structure, and they're still just so lost. Kind of like the older generation with credit cards and then the internet, learning email, learning these new structures of transacting with the world. Do you think that the market is going to widely adopt it in the near future? Or are a lot of people in this space kind of setting themselves up for someone who's 10 years old right now? It's just going to understand it like the back of their hand.
My dad is a boomer, right? And I mean, all of our parents are boomers predominantly. And it took him, I think, 2 weeks. Well, the NFT thing was like, when I told him like, yo, dad, like, we raised this amount of money to go invest. He's like, so is it real? Like, can you take it out? Like literally what he asked me. So I'm like, you know what, dad, I'm gonna send you $500 in Sol. And I want you to watch it. This was when Sol was like 110. So Sol is like shit right now. It's like 50% of what it is.
Yeah.
But he was able to understand that because I was like, yo, I gave you $500, right? Of the worth, but it was really 5 Sol per se at the time. It was Sol at $100. So luckily it was at $100 so he can understand the decimals. But then he was like, son, like one day he calls me. He's like, dude, son, it's at $750. Like, is this $250 I can make above? Like I could take this? I was like, yeah, dude, you could technically take $250 right now and you still have $500. But he's like, but I don't get it. It's still 5 Sol, right? And I'm like, yeah, dad, that's the value of the currency that you have.
But yeah, not to trip the FCC, but it's like you buy X amount of shares. If it goes up,
exactly. And so for him, he's realizing like, damn, so technically US dollar is stable, but it doesn't go up. It doesn't go down. Right. So at one point he saw when Sol was like at 130, he was almost at like $850. And I was like, dude, dad, you could take $350. I told him not to because I still believe in its growth of where it is. But technically I was like, you could take $350 out right now and spend it. And remember the $500 I gave you originally, it's still there. Does that make sense?
Of course.
So showing that to the newest person and the boomer, when they get that, it's actually faster adoption. Yeah. My dad is now like, son, should I put more in it? Like he saw Sol get to $40. Like, should I buy more? After he just saw his worth go down to 50% negative, he's like, but I get it because if I buy Sol right now at 40 and it goes back to 200, and the value. So you're teaching everyone the adoption rate that no matter what the fuck you think, bro, the blockchain is in the future because nowhere in the world can you. The best way I use it is find me technology that can transact and handle $50,000, $1 million at one time, and get it to you faster than a Zelle. With zero, almost a penny of like literally it's almost a penny to transact. You tell me anywhere in the world you could do that on Web 2 and I'll go back to Web 2 and start building. For real.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that as much as it's slightly naive to you and maybe to Grant that's here on the call, it's getting faster for the next person.
Yeah.
And it's clicking for the next person. And so we're building there for them to receive it and be like, holy shit, thank you, Meta, Sky, whatever the fuck. You created this whole platform for me to understand. I'm head on into it now. I'm going to fall into it. And now you don't realize that Amazon's already doing this. We talked about drop shipping. I was waiting for this to drop here. But if you find some of the right accounts through Amazon and you sign in through Google, it'll literally fall. I have a thing I can show you, but it literally falls through. It says, boom, accept USDC Sol for like a 10% discount.
Wow.
Think about that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And
that's the question is not, I think for most people too, it's not in the confusion of blockchain and transacting. It's waiting for these products and services and value to be realized, because in comparing it to the stock market, not to trip you up with the FCC or
no, you're
anything,
good. I'm good with it. I just was using a disclaimer
Yeah.
why I was bouncing behind like holders and investors.
Return on investment. You have a company that has a business model that has overhead, earns revenue, balances their books, and pays out to their shareholders with a business model that most people can understand. So myself included, and I think most of others, it's not in the confusion of the blockchain itself, because that's just replacing the middleman banking system. It's where is all the value going to be created? It's open source, so people can tap into it, right?
That's the special thing about it.
It's in the end, and you're part of this race. Who is going to win out and have a business model that survives the hype of it all, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're hustling to do, because you know that if there is any longevity in it, there must be true value in the real world. It can't just be, I'm at the casino, here's a bet, give me $100 back.
Exactly.
It can't be that.
Exactly. And I think you wrapped it all in as well. Is why I'm so passionate about it. Is like, so many people laugh at me when I'm talking about like bringing integrity to the space about what I'm doing, because people are like, what the fuck, crypto and integrity can't even sit in the same boat, right? But if you really focus on hearing out my vision about what I'm talking about right now, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to bring integrity, because I don't think people understand that I use the Philippines. I love you guys so much. I swear to you, I'm not trying to like down talk the pay but dude, a $10,000 a year average salary is average in the Philippines. And for someone to work with me, or say, right, get involved, buy a few of my NFTs and see us rise, and they sell 4 of them for $4,000 each, whatever the case may be, dude, they just made their salary again. And yes, it's showing that someone who's in a place that may not even understand how little less that they're working. And these are people who are skilled professionals, accountants, you know what I'm saying? But they're still getting paid $10,000 a year. But now they have the opportunity to make exactly what you and I are making, right? That's the power of why I'm supporting it so much, is because as much as there's so many people making such amount of X amount of money, and you hear all this like very degenerate things that are going on in the crypto space, right? It's very non-integral. There's also another end of things where there's people actually changing their lives, being able to get married for the first time, being able to buy a property for the first time based on this technology. So yes, they have to bring it back out to the real world and use it. And that's my use case, is like, okay, how can I help them use this technology that they've earned and just and grow it and expand it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And so for us, yeah, it's going to be a unique thing. I basically told my team and my people that this is either going to make or break the shit that I do long term. Like I'm at a point where this is literally my fucking reputation.
You're all in.
I'm all in. It's my face. But all these other project owners are hidden. It's not about the reputation. They get to they get to social experiment, right? And for me, it's like I'm really actually putting my face down on this shit, saying, yo, if this sticks, then yeah, you guys are looking at me for what it is. And if it doesn't, then where it goes. But at the same time, the number one thing about what we're doing is that we are a non-volatile project working within a volatile industry. So that's what makes it special, is that when the bear market, if Sol went down to zero, real estate's still up. And what we do is we refine our currency through love, through USDC. So Sol is not even, we're not dependent on Sol through love. Love could still be at $1 or $10 if Sol was at zero, because it's pegged from USDC. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And so people have to understand what we're doing past that point as well, is that I'm focusing on building something that is meant for everyone, meant for the real world to say, oh shit, I could use it, or I get it. It's not this hype game that's like, damn, I only could be entered into this if I only have this NFT, and like I don't even know what that fuck that means. It's like, no, my dad can understand if he wants to go to Tulum, love is accepted in Tulum per se, right? As an example. And you could go and book a couple of your stays from there. So he understands not having to like get so questionable about what the fuck this is going. I'm holding this NFT. It's going to give me this. And these are all my rewards, right? So the whole case in point is in the next year, people are going to understand that that's what it is, right? And we started with the QR code, and I'll end it with it, is that if you can understand what a QR code is, you already know what NFTs are, and you know the power of the technology, and that's it.
Sweet.
You know?
How can people get connected with you?
All right, so Discord is the best way. We are running literally a multi-million-dollar business through Discord. It's through DeFi District. Is literally, you can just type it up, or
How do you spell that?
DeFi is DEFI. It's decentralized finance is like the term, right? DeFi District. And then you can look us up on curselabs.io. DeFiDistrict.xyz will be up, as well when this is posted, it'll be up. And you can look at stridevip.xyz, lovetokenomics.com. You could find me basically there. I'm not on Instagram. We are on Twitter. So you can look at me at MetaKnows on Twitter. And basically that's where we're at. Meta knows, like knows it all, like
Okay.
Meta knows. And META and then KNOWS. And that's where I shoot all my shit. And the Curse Labs and the community there. Shout out to you guys for even giving me the ability to come here and talk. And I'm excited to show you guys like the multi-year project and developments that we have, and to just really fucking shit on a lot of the people who slept on like my project and my people and my community. So,
well, congrats, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what the future holds, and thanks for breaking it down. I definitely learned some things today, and I hope the audience did too.
Yeah.
And we'll have to have you back on when Tulum's an option.
Yeah, exactly that. Tulum, Manchester, you guys see it out. I'm excited to do a follow-up after that. So,
all right, brother.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
All
it.
right, with that being said, talking goes a long way. We'll catch you guys next time.
Cheers.